Hello everyone and welcome once again to the Global Business Update with TA. As always, 7 stories from around the world for your intel and insight. And I'm coming to you from the Park Studio. For all your portraits and video requirements, Park Studio in the heart of Colombo is the place to go to. Now, in the latest business news, to understand the actual impact on logistics due to Russia's attack on Ukraine, one of their leading brewers, which is known in the US as the Core, which is a vodka brand from Ukraine, now their cost of getting a truck from their warehouses or their distilleries to Poland has gone up from around 1,500 USD to more than 4,000 USD. Now, this is the case for one business, and mind you, this is a brand that even beat some of the globally acclaimed vodka brands such as Absolute, and they are facing a severe issue by being unable to get their products to the key markets at an affordable logistics cost. Meanwhile, we also see that India is getting ready to raise some big funds, in fact more than $18 billion through their 5G spectrum auction. Now, around 72 gigahertz has been allocated for this 5G spectrum, and some of the leading players, including Jio, Airtel, Idea, are vying for this. And this 5G network is expected to bring India's infrastructure to the developed and advanced levels, such as some of the nations, including South Korea. GTA, Grand Theft Auto, is also getting on the bandwagon when it comes to inclusiveness and also for giving equal prominence to female characters, not just Hollywood. In their upcoming game, which is about 2 years away though, but they have announced that the main lead character will actually be a female, a Latina. And at a time that this game is quite highly valued, a franchise of GTA is worth around 300 to 500 million dollars, and the total game per se is said to be worth close to about $10 billion or even more. This is a big move, but mind you, they are trying to make a comeback from a fallout of creativity after their creative head left the company in 2019. How well will this play out? Only time would tell. Germany is planning a 30 billion euro package to help startups to improve their business and keep competing in a global stage. They are also taking measures in order to allow more foreign labor to enter the tech sector and start providing their services. As the overall outlook of Europe doesn't seem to be that great, especially with Russia and Putin holding Europe more at an energy blackmail or an energy ransom, as one might say, with regular reductions of power supply, and with the overall global economy also set to slow down. Things are not looking so great even for one of the strongest economies, or one would say one of the economies of Europe, which is actually pulling the load during the difficult times. But the fact that they are also worried about their startups, and mind you, Germany is known as a country where bulk of the economic growth truly comes from the startups and the entrepreneurial ventures of small and medium scale. How well will this package work out? Well, it will have to be something that we need to observe, but their focus is very clear to get the entrepreneurship engine rolling once again. Big plans for 2024 Olympics in France. Despite the soaring costs, they have actually planned out to break the tradition of having the opening ceremony in a stadium, and they are going to have it along the main river in the city of Paris, and around 10,000 plus athletes are expected to be brought along in some of the main boats into the opening ceremony, and the spectators would also be largely watching the show without having to buy a ticket along the banks of the river. France is targeting this event as one of the main comeback events with the whole theme of Games Wide Open, but with France facing so much of energy challenges and rising costs, how well will this play out, especially among the public? Well, that is definitely a concern for Macron and the government at a time that his leadership is also politically challenged inside and outside the parliament. What if you lived in a city where everything was so close to you, including world-class medical facilities, a ski resort, all within maybe like a one building kind of situation? This is what Project The Line is all about. The Saudi Crown Prince, known as MBES, Mohammed bin Salman, announced the plans for this multi-billion-dollar investment. It's said to be one of the world-class, first of its kind vertical cities, everything easily accessible, sustainable, built with state-of-the-art technology, And this city is also expected to require a massive level of funding. Already $80 billion have been allocated. They are planning to use a fund. They are planning to also have an IPO for this to raise some of the funds. They believe that the first phase of the line is expected to require around $320 billion. This is a plan that has been unveiled since the 2017-18 time period, and there has been certain delays which has been affecting the project as well. But the open bold statement simply goes on to show that using a land that has been allocated for this project, they are truly hell-bent on creating this first of its kind marvel. It would definitely classify as one of the world wonders, indeed, man-made wonders, if the project goes through. The builders or the main project company, NEOM, they too have announced the bold plan, and it's said to be a signature piece of architecture. But once again, how well will this play out with some of the latest developments of infrastructure expenditure? And definitely for a project of this kind, will the costs actually go beyond the expected, and are the costs being underestimated? These are definite questions and queries that a lot of people would be asking. Finally, news from Africa. South Africa's power grid came to an agonizingly close moment of almost halting and crashing 14 years ago. But since then up to now, the complaint is that hardly anything has been done. In fact, the last three presidents of the country have failed to allocate the required $11 billion funding to expand the power grid and also the power infrastructure. And also, the most disappointing fact is that South Africa is blessed with many natural resources for wind, solar energy, but the required funding has not been allocated to harness these and integrate this power into the grid, the national grid of South Africa. And there are plans, though. The rumors are that there soon will be openings for the private sector players to come into the picture, and not only to have the monopoly of power with the National Power Authority of South Africa, but rather look at the possibility of actually having more private sector players entering these sustainable and renewable energy ventures and stabilizing the power requirements of the nation. That's it for this week, and no matter what industry you may be in, have a profitable week ahead. I'll see you with the next episode of the Global Business Update with TA.